Today I want to, do part two of a segment I did last time you were together. And I want to call this segment, No Person or Human is Black. Now, we launched a segment of teaching called BAM, the crayon color identification of persons or people. But no person is black. You've never seen a black person. You've never seen a person that is actually black. I got news for you. God never created a person that is black. If you look in the Bible, there is no reference to black persons or humans. But that ain't all. No, there's more. Yeah, I had more. I got more for you. No person or human is white. Let's be clear about what we can be clear about. You've never seen a white person. You've just never done it. You've never done it. There are no white people in the Bible. There are no creations or humans that are either black or white created by God. This black and white designation is a creation of Satan. And I'll tell you more about its etymology a little bit later on. But I would like to be able to suggest to you that we stop blaspheming and promoting angst and animus and division and diversion and hatred between the sons of Noah by using these ridiculous identification modes, crayon color types of black or white. And I am amazed that humanity has advanced as far as it has advanced, and people are still comfortable with, this is caveman talk to call somebody by color. This is grunt. This is before writing. The mentality that allows anybody to say that they are black when they are not, or for someone to claim that they're white when they're not, is schizophrenizoid. I mean, you have just to call yourself black when you're not, or call yourself white when you're not, or to have someone call you black when you're not, or white when you're not. And humanity's brain development and use of its human interaction skills and social animal structures have not refuted this hundreds of years ago is amazing. It's like living in a cave that we haven't discovered the electric light yet, that we haven't discovered a knife and a fork or sliced bread. To still live in a world where people call themselves black or white, or where people refer to each other as black or white, is living in caveman mentality. I mean, come on, everybody. This is one of the most powerful grips that Satan has on the inhumanity of man and man's absolute ignorance and power and failure of development. Because the Bible has never referred to us along those lines. This is a new, if you will, century, 16th, 17th century ideology, etymology of referring to one. So I'm here to call for a ban on it. Now, I said, well, if we can deputize and get 12 people over the next year to say that we will stop referring to them, we have to, then what are they? If they're not black, what are they? They're Hamites. Noah had 3 sons, and out of which the whole earth has been overspread with population of people. Ham had a family. The older boy of Noah was named Shem. He had a family. They're now known as the Jews or Semites. And then there's Japheth. He is the younger son of Noah, and he had family. And the whole earth has been overspread by these 3. They were not known by any type of color designation. So rather than saying somebody's black when they're not, they're Hamites. And I can go over the entire list, of people that are Hamites, and they're the largest group of people on the planet, by the way, because Hamites include all Muslims, all people of East India, Japan, China. These are Hamites. These are people that are Hamites. They're not Japheth. They're not white, if you will, and they're not Jewish. All Africans, all Asians, all East Asians, all Indians, are all of the nation of India, of the continent of India, right? They're all Hamites. And they're the largest group of people. I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to tell a large difference between me if you just look at me now and some idiot wants to call me black or to take out my gun and shoot him. So call me black. I'm not black. But you compare me. I mean, I might look like Brother Gupta, right, from over yonder in Bangladesh, or from somewhere in Mumbai, right, or Calcutta. I might look like Brother Gupta. I mean, my skin color and even, framing of my hair, I could look like Brother Gupta, Or I, could look a tad like, brother over in Japan or in Africa or down in the Caribbean. Because none of us are black. None of us are black. No, let me say, none of us are black. We are. And there's nobody white on planet Earth. There's nobody white on the planet. Nobody. So I think it's very important that we understand what we're doing here. It is so villainous. It is so blasphemous. It is so satanic. Let's stop doing this to each other. Stop doing. Come on, humanity. Come on. Come out the cave. Turn on the light, slice the bread, roll the wheel. Stop saying people are white. They're not. They're not. Stop saying people are black. They're not. Now, I got on a black and gray shirt today and a black and gray vest, and I'm wearing it just for you. Because you ain't seen nobody. You haven't seen anybody black. When they say, well, Pastor, if they're not black, then what? First of all, we should not necessarily look at people by skin color. That is wrong on its face. But I think that if you are going to have to do that, because sometimes distinctions are necessary, I'm not sure when, then the basic color of people who we refer to as Hamites, that you're not referring to as black, is mahogany. That is either a very dark mahogany, or, if you look at, for instance, the Native Americans here in America, or you look at the Chinese, if you look at the Mongolians, they are sort of a lighter shade, if you will, of mahogany. But if you get real close up on a African person from the nation, let's say of Nigeria, and you get they call black, so you see black. But if you look at them very closely, their skin is a mixture of red, dark mahogany. You look at them very closely, they're not black. In fact, the closer you look at their skin and their texture of their skin and this mahogany, it is anything but black. It is mahogany. It is a dark mahogany. Then there are lighter tones of mahogany as well, depending on whether there's been some miscegenation and sperm, if you will, integration. And so sometimes the sperms start to cut over a period of years, began to, lose some of its potence, power. But there are no black people. There are no black humans. God didn't create no black humans. Let's get that straight. trait. And God did not create any white humans. Let's get that straight. And, the etymology of this was, as I said, the origin of the Europeans, when going into Africa, began to call people black using the Latin word Negro. It didn't have the same kind of connotation that it has today. Black and Negro have two different connotations in terms of its use today. The word Negro, of course, the word Negro is a Latin word, but it's now associated with slavery. It's associated with Africa, it's associated with the slave trade, and black is associated with the liberation of the slave trade. That we're now liberate, we're now black, we ain't Negro no more. It's ridiculous, it's all crazy. But it represents the failure of even those who graduated of Harvard and other places to intellectually examine and look at humanity and make a leap forward and cure this cancer of crayon color identities of humanity. Damn it, let's stop it. It's a cancer. Let's stop it. There are no black people. There are no white people. Get it? Let's look at us as humans. Now, we should be known by our fathers. My father's Ham. Japheth boy's father's Japheth. But not black. Stop this cancer crayon colored identity of humans. It is so satanic. Satan loves it. So it's important for us to begin to understand this process. Let me just say this as well. That Malcolm talked about in his movie, Malcolm X, Denzel Washington. All the black represents all things ugly, and white represents all things pure and righteous. And the etymologists have gone ahead and done that with the language structure. So when you say Black Lives Matter, if you take it to its furthest, if you will, proposition, you're saying all the ugly people's lives finally matter. Because black, in our language today, represents something that is dark, ugly, black male, black day, blacklisted, black sheep, black this, black that. So if you apply black in terms of its dictionary and etymology and an understanding, you are saying that ugly lives matter. You're identifying yourselves, and if you associate with English and you allow yourself to do that, and all the white people are the beautiful people. Because the dictionary etymology states that white is pure, righteous, beautiful, sacrosanct, sanctimonious, all of that. Let's stop this cancer. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. And by the way, if you join with me and become deputized and say, I'm going to stop calling people black and white and refer to them as Hamites or Japheth or Shemites, you also stop this monstrous, this villainous, you cannot believe how satanic the organization is called Black Lives Matter. How satanic! When you look at the etymology of the term black, it is a curse. It is an affirmation of a curse upon a group of people. Don't put me in that one. No. So, this cancer just needs to stop. The Jewish people call it, I think maybe the Jewish word schwarzer. You ever been called that by a Jew? Schwarzer. That's what I don't know whether that's the Hebrew word for black or not. I think that it is. Whether it's used in a negative way, and sometimes it probably has been. But the strange thing I found about the way the coloring of this language, and I've been studying this for several years, is that sometimes they call, the Hamite people spooks, right? Hey, spooky. Hey, spook. The spook sat by the door. The movies from 1970, 1960. The spook. Hey, spooky. But the strange thing about it is that spooks are white. Like Casper the Ghost, for instance. This is crazy. I'm telling you, it is crazy. But the thing I think I want to pull your coat to is that look at this, how ignorant is humanity, how ignorant are Nobel Prize winners, how ignorant are college professors, how ignorant are these people that continue to perpetuate this blasphemous, cancerous, crayon color identity on people that is the world's worst misnomer, because no one is white or black. But yet, they've invested their lives in the process. So I wanted to be able to share that with you. I have to tell you a little bit about my background. I've been set free from all this black stuff and all this black talk. I have. And those who have not been set free are like drunk people. They are drunk on blackness. In fact, they've now made it a religion. Hell, they were out there trying to get Jesus to be black. It's just there's a verse in the book of Revelation where it says that Jesus' feet was like burnished brass, and they were. But burnished brass ain't black. Damn it! Brass is more of a gold color. Brass ain't black. And I swear, preachers were jumping up and down, and these Hamite people were running around talking about, because it says burnished brass, that means his feet is black. That ain't, brass ain't black. We get that, Mr. Engineer, fine brass. You ever seen brass? Brass is gold looking. This is brass. That's black. This is brass. Oh, this is brass. That's black. This is brass. That's black. They said that because Jesus' feet were like fine brass, that made him black. I said, dang, these preachers are the most ignorant. I mean, can't they read the Bible? And somebody go get a color chart, for crying out loud. Somebody get a color chart and show these people that brass ain't black. Jesus is black. Say in the book of Revelation, that's like fine. Loud. Come on. This is beyond caveman ignorance that humanity has failed, that Satan has perpetrated. Black lives matter. We black and proud. What the hell is wrong with you? But it's important that we understand that this needs to stop. And I'm asking you, will you join with me? Because the media is not going to help me. Usually you get something like this and you bring it out to the humanity, and it's a global, if you will, affirmation of the decency and the equality of humanity, of all persons. It is a release. It is from the scourge of calling people by these cancerous crayon color identities, and it is an uplift. It is a space ride for humanity to stop referring to each other as black or white. And it's a good thing. But the media is not going to help me do that. And the reason why is because they don't like me. I'm not one of their boys. No, I'm not. I'm not one of their tools. I'm not one of their sellouts. I'm not one of their pinch-nosed Negroes. I'm not one of their Uncle Toms. And if they can't control, let me tell you something about the media and about the government as well, politics also. If they can't control you, they ain't have. Let me say, every person you see in that the media is promoting, they're controlling it. Nobody comes into prominence of visibility in the media and education institutions, Harvard, all that media, CNN, unless they can control you. And rightly so. You go to work for a corporation, you go to work for JP Morgan Chase Bank, you got to be controlled by their banking policies. They read you the riot act of what the policies are, and you follow that. You ain't going to work for CNN unless they control you. You ain't going to just get up and tell the truth. They can control you. They can't control me. I'm uncontrolled. I'm a rebel. He's a rebel and he want to be da-da-da-da-da. He's a rebel and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Manning is a rebel. We can't control him. He says whatever God tells him. And that's not for us, so we ain't going to promote nothing, because Manning, if we let him get visibility, he'll control us, and that we can't do. He'll take away our Kodachrome, and we won't be able to make any money anymore spreading our lies in these institutions, in these newspapers, the Washington Post, New York Times, and CNN, and MSNBC, and Fox News also. We can't let him get visibility because he might awaken the people. And if that happens, we can't control them. We need a Negro we can control. And Manning is uncontrollable. And so let's label him as, let's give him an ugly name because we can't control him. Really what the problem is, we can't control Manning, or they can't control me. So let's call him a hate preacher. Let's call him a hate preacher. This is a little bit, I have some concerns about, whether or not to share this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'll leave it to you to decide. But what happens when because they can't control my biblical fidelity. I love the Bible. I love the Lord. I love the law. I love the law. I love the law of God. I love every law that Moses said. I love Jesus. I love the Bible. And they can't control my love for, I'm in love with the word of God. I'm in love with the law, right? And, they want to do LGBTQ, which is a violation of the law and a violation of humanity as well. But what would you need if you had two homosexual men? Let's just leave it at that. In a room. What would you need? All right, so I ain't gonna give you the answer to that. I'm gonna leave that one hanging out in the stratosphere. But no, here, I simply want to say to you, we need to stop this cancerous crayon color identification. It's barbaric. It's it's unbiblical. It creates, and the other thing is unfair. It's not fair because the etymology of the word black and the etymology of the word white is unfair. It paints one group of people as beautiful, as peaceful, as sacrosanct, as sanctimonious, as righteous, as good, as it paints one people that way, and then it paints the other just the opposite. It's unfair. It's wrong. It is absolutely wicked to do that to humanity, to put one group of people as being pure and righteous and white and right, and put the other as black and whatever, and villainous and black male and black sheep and black day, black market, black get back. It's wrong. It's wrong, I tell you. It's wrong. And for those who are given this ugly designation of black to perpetuate it by flying flags that says Black Lives Matter, by identifying themselves as black, as saying black power, or saying we black and we proud, is insane. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. It is the worst kind of unfairness. And it is the tool of Satan. It is destructive. But again, I'm going to ask you, I'm trying to deputize at least 12 people over the next year who will make the commitment. So, well, Pastor Manning, I may have to say black occasionally or white occasionally, but I'm going to always know or always affirm it by saying Hamite or Japheth. And if you're talking about Jewish, you say Shemite. But Pastor Manning, I raise my hand to be deputized of 12 people you're trying to reach, because most people aren't going to want to do this. You're not going to get them to teach it in the schools. They're not going to bring this to the schools. They're not going to tell children when you are called black. When somebody says you're black, they're saying you're villainous, you're a criminal, you're less desirable, you are the worst of the worst. And when someone calls someone white, you're saying they are just the opposite. They're the best. And so every time you refer to a little fourth grade child as a black child, you are cursing them. You're cursing them. But see, they're not going to tell you this. CNN's not going to bring you. Washington Post is not going to bring you this. The book publishing companies are not going to want to write about this. They're not going to do that because they enjoy the ignorance. And they themselves are ignorant. They enjoy the ignorance. And what would happen, let's say, if a decade went by and every child is born over the next 10 years would never hear themselves be known as black. And on the other hand, all the children that are born of the Japheth crowd would never hear themselves as being called white and pure and righteous and better. Imagine how that might change the world. It would change the world, but they're not going to do it. Washington Post ain't going to print this. They're going to try to ban it on Facebook. I'm telling you, this ain't going to get on CNN. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. There's too many trillions of dollars and too much blood that can be shed and too many abortions that can be had and too many prisons that still need to be built. And we can just keep saying Black Lives Matter. Oh. And white, however, is right. So I want to deputize you, right? And because they're not going to hear me. They don't like me because, well, I don't like them. I mean, the feeling is mutual. I don't like them. In fact, these people, I see them. Here comes the pinch-nosed Negro. You're the pinch-nosed Negro. He's a Negro who wants to be white. Because he knows that black is ugly. So he wants to be white. So he pinches his nose. So when he talks, then he puts on makeup like he's white. The pinch-nosed Negro. There he is. This is the leading seven. This is the leading seven pinch-nosed Negroes. And in that order, these are the pinch-nosed Negroes. They're the leading seven. The murderous seven leading Negroes, pinch-nosed Negroes who want to be white. They want to be white so bad. They want to be white so bad. They won't use any other color of toilet paper. You give them a handkerchief that's red and tell them to wipe their nose, a napkin. They go to a restaurant and the napkins are black. They said, we're going to another restaurant. Woo! So, at any rate, will you help me? Will you help me get the word out? We got to get the word out. You can send this video to your friends if you dare do it. But the media, they don't want this. In fact, send it to them and say, don't you think this is noteworthy? Don't you think that this message should be heard far and wide? Because none of the people that are first considered leading Negroes have this intelligence. This needs to be taught to the children in the schools, that they're not black. They're not blacklisted. They're not black sheep. They're not black male. They're not a black day. And that their counterpart children, white, are not the righteous, the sanctimonious, the sacrosanct, the pure, the lily. They're not. These need to be taught to the children. Save the children. We need to prevent the Washington Post and the New York Times and CNN and Fox News. We need to prevent them from preventing this word to getting to the children, to bless their hearts, and getting to the world to change our designation. At any rate, everybody, if you raise your right, I'm laughing. Raise your right hand and put your hand on the Bible and say, Pastor Manning, I'm with you on this one. I think it's wrong that some people get called as white, as pure, as righteous, as sanctimonious, and others get called as blacklisted, black sheep, black day, black. I think that's wrong, that humans are being treated that way. And I pledge to do my best to serve humanity by eradicating these cancerous crayon color designations that are so barbaric and caveman in their ideology. I stand with you on this, Pastor Manning, and I'm going to do my best to spread this word everywhere I can. I'm going to preach about it in the churches. I'm a school teacher. I'm going to teach it in the schools. I'm going to teach it on my job if I work at Subway or Subway station, or if I work at McDonald's, or if I'm a lawyer, if I'm a politician. I'm going to get this word out to as many people as I possibly can. Save the children. Stop calling the children black and making them feel inferior, and calling some children white and making them think they're superior. Pastor Manning, I'm going to do that. I think this is right, this is just, and this is of God. And I will do my very, very best until the world changes and stops this cancer that is destroying the character of people. Praise Almighty God. I want to ask you to come up close for just 1 second. And I want to talk to 3-year and older veterans of the Trust in the Lord Hour, the Open Rewards Prayer Meeting, the Manna Report, and the Pulpit of Power, those 4 ministries that we do every week, producing at least 20 different ministries or sermons every week. If you are a 3-year or older veteran, by old I mean 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12 years, older veteran of any of these ministries that we do on a daily basis every week, and you are not a supporter, you've not joined with the ministry to give to pledge your support and your alignment with what we've been teaching. My question is why? You've had 3 years to observe us. You've had 3 years to listen to us on a daily basis, all weekend, all day long, any hour of the day. We're broadcasting. You've had 3 years to watch our various successes. You've 3 years to watch our ups and downs. You've had 3 years to listen to the tenor or the consistency of what we have said, whether we are consistent or whether we're all over the chart in what we do and what we believe. You've had 3 years to watch people around us who have made the commitment to join with our ministry and church and to financially support it. And by the way, I want to give another shout out to Brother Jesse Munoz out there in San Bernardino, along with Goldfinger, who is just extraordinary giver, and others that do extraordinary giving to our ministry. My question is to you, if you are a 3-year veteran or older, why haven't you joined? Why haven't you committed? And I suppose some of the reasons would say, well, Pastor Man, I belong to another church. And why? How could you, after 3 years of hearing me teach about the Sabbath, about righteousness, about the tribulation, and listen to me faithfully as you do, and still go sit up in another pastor's face? How could you be? It's like a woman sleeping with 2 men. You know, one she likes during the week and the other she likes on the weekend. It's hypocritical. How could you do that? I mean, let's say you started 3 months ago. I can understand why it may take you some time to evaluate, may take you some time to look at me, to discover, who I am. You say, well, Pastor, that's not that I don't belong to another church or ministry. I'm with you. But there's some things you say I like, and there's some things you say I don't like. Why? Why is it that you've made a decision that there's some things that you don't like are stronger than the things that you do like? I am not a psychiatrist, but I am an analyst. And I have to tell you, I analyze the world, understanding. The understanding and wisdom tells me this, that if there are things that a person such as myself that I am saying, there is no room to disagree with what I am saying unless your purpose is to find something to disagree with. Let's say, for instance, you say, well, I like the fact that you talk about Obama, but I don't like the fact that you talk about Trump. Let's say, for instance, you're one of those, right? Well, the purpose, it isn't that you just like what I say about Obama, but don't like what I say about Trump. What it is that you are looking for a reason to support Trump. It isn't that you don't like it. It's just that you don't like the fact that I'm saying something about him. It isn't that what I'm saying is wrong. Let me put it that way. It isn't what I'm saying is wrong or indifferent. You know it's right. But you've lived your life, or you've come up, or you've been raised with a doctrine that you can really live in a false reality. That's where you are. You've been raised in a doctrine that you can live in a false reality. That is to say, you can like the truth about Obama, but you don't like the truth about Trump. And it's the same truth. It's the same truth. There's no difference. But because you have been indoctrinated to live in a false reality, you are really a person who needs psychological debriefing. But trust me, there are zillions of people around the world who live that way. There are people who know what I'm saying about Trump or Obama is right. They know it, but they choose to ignore it based on the fact that they find a reality that isn't true, and they've settled in there. Say, that's one of the reasons why I've not made a commitment, because, I don't like the fact, I wish you would support what I support. But the truth of the matter is, then why do you come? You've given 3 years or more of your life to listen to me? 3 years of your life to listen to me? And you're not tired of listening to me yet? And you've given 3 years of your life, and over the past 3 years, your life has been greatly upgraded. You've learned, you've been educated, you've been enlightened. And let me say this to you. If you make the commitment, say, well, Pastor, I'm joining with you, and I'm going to support, I'm going to do the tithe and offering, I'm going to do the first fruit, I'm going to keep the Sabbath, your life is going to soar. Now listen to me very carefully. Now I'm not going to leave you alone after this. Listen to me very carefully. You come as often as you come over the past 3 years because you're being helped. You're being educated. You're being enlightened. Right? Right. But the thing that you like, whether you say, well, I like what you say about Obama, but I don't like what you say about Trump. You do the same thing with the Word of God, such as you like the things I say, the teachings that I say, the way I explain the Bible, the way I break it all down and make it clear. But when it comes to things like money or tithing and offering or the Sabbath, well, that is also true, but because of your false reality, because you really need a psychological debriefing, because of your false reality, you choose not to believe the tithe or the first fruit or the Sabbath. Now, it isn't that it isn't true. It's as true as all the other things I've said. But you live in a false reality where you try to ignore the truth about the tithe, and so you don't do it. But everything else I say is good to go. Everything I ever say is good to go, good enough to share with your friends. It makes you laugh. It educates you. It enlightens you. But the tithe, well, and the full commitment to the ministry, well, the first fruit offerings, well, the Sabbath, that's all true as well. But you have chosen, and you've been raised and indoctrinated to have a dual reality, which is dangerous. Jesus said this, and I'll leave you. He said, I would rather you be the hot or cold, but not lukewarm. You're lukewarm. You have a dual reality. He said, if you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out of my mouth. I would rather you be completely stomped down against Pastor Manny, trying to take him down. Be fully against him. Be against him with all of your strength. Or be fully for him with all of your strength. But don't be in the middle, somewhere lukewarm. You're better than to be spit out of the mouth of Jesus if you're lukewarm. So what's it going to be? You're going to make the commitment and grow and be even better blessed, or you're going to continue to walk in the lukewarm spit of the mouth of the Savior. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant.